our NBA analyst. Always.
I know what this is. I know what happened. I know you enjoyed your Mother's Day yesterday.
Yeah.
But Mama's on the East Coast. That's why we get Cris after Mother's Day. He scoops in, gets a, hey, y'all pay for my ticket.
A list of holidays that we get you for. That would be great.
Happy Mother's Day, by the way.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Same to the three of you. So, tough day for the Rockets on Friday night. They lost to the Warriors in Game 6 despite getting 35 points from James Harden and despite KD not suiting up for Golden State. Houston now enters the offseason with more questions about their postseason than answers. Many of them asked of James Harden after the loss.
They're a very, very good team. Like, they're a great team. They've been in the finals for the last 4 or 5 years. Like, we're not losing to, some scrubs, so we got to find a way to keep getting better, keep growing, keep getting better. And keep putting ourselves in a position to keep playing them.
This was not fun, and I guarantee you, James and Cris and our team is very upset right now. They kicked our ass in our home court. They beat us by 10 points in the fourth quarter. It's unacceptable, okay? We just have to be better, and I know that we're going to rise to the occasion, and our time's going to come. James is 30 years old. Michael didn't win his first championship till 30. Hakeem didn't win his first championship till 30. I can promise you we're going to win some championships with James Harden, okay? Because we are not going to sit here. We will go to battle every year. We're going to have a strong offseason, and we're going to do whatever we can do to be a better team. Okay, we are not going to sit on our hands. I can promise you that.
All right, Broussard, let me ask you, is Tillman Furtado right? The Rockets are going to win titles with James Harden?
Well, I think he's wrong about Michael Jordan. Wasn't Jordan 28?
Yeah, Jordan was not 30 when he won his first title.
Yeah. Look,
he won a title at 30. But
yeah, it was his second or third one. Will they win a title with James Harden? If I had to bet my life on it, I would say no. But I don't look at it as a flaw in James.
But I get it.
Yeah, right. Or gun to my head, whatever it is. I don't think it's a flaw in James Harden. Like, look, we know his struggles in the past in big games. You can go back to San Antonio, Game 6, shoots 11 times, scores, 10, 11 points, whatever it was, the 12 turnovers against Golden State and all that. This was not that. He showed up in Game 6, 35 points. He showed up throughout the series. Once he was raked across the eyes, he played well. 35 points a game, 45, 46% shooting from the floor. Harden played well. The Rockets' problem is, first of all, they're strapped as far as finances. So what changes can they make? Chris Paul, at his age, the decline in his game, I don't think they're going to be able to trade him. He's got 3 years, $120 million plus left on his deal. And I don't even know if they want to move him just because of the deals they've made with him. They shouldn't have gave him that contract last summer, but they felt like they kind of had to. So what they need is a front court star, okay? If you look at the history of this league, from my 25 years of covering the league, even before as a fan, very few teams, if any, win championships without a front court star. Now, I thought in the three-point era, that might be different because guards have become so prominent and all that. You look at Golden State, you say, well, okay, even before KD, they won a championship. However, Draymond is viewed as a star, and in the last 3 games of the year they won it in 2015, Draymond averaged 16 points a game. Iguodala averaged 20 points a game. That's why he won the MVP in part. So you need a front court player that can make some plays. It can't just all be guard. So if their front office can go out and make these moves, I think maybe that's part of what led them to go sign Carmelo Anthony. But if they need to somehow get a forward or center who can legitimately give them 18, 20 points a game on his own, not Clint Capella catching stuff at the rim, but a guy that can create, that they can run a high pick and roll.
Or a guy that can create for someone else to get a bucket.
Like Ray run a high pick and roll with Capella, he can only roll to the rim. If you run it with a front court player who can do something on his own,
that's the advantage Draymond has playing with the Warriors. Great point.
Listen, I think I've been as big of a public proponent of this team as anybody on television. I think they have the best GM in sports. I think Harden's been unfairly maligned throughout his career. They're never going to beat the Golden State Warriors. I do think they can win a championship because Harden's young enough and great enough and has shown a big enough commitment to his body, to getting better, to coming back each year and adding a new part to his game. But they are going to need the Golden State Warriors to age out of this region.
Even if Durant leaves.
Even if Durant leaves. They are going to need Golden State, someone else to knock off Golden State in the playoffs. You know, if it's still the Warriors together as this unit. They were up 15 in Game 6 last year on the road, up 3-2 in the series, and they lost. They were up 15 in Game 7 last year at home. Tied series 3-3, and they lost. They had a golden opportunity where the Warriors should have been the stunned team in Game 5 this year. Tie game, Kevin Durant goes out, and they lost. They had a home game where they're 7.5-point Vegas favorites. Almost all of our discussion Friday was about Game 7 because, of course, the Rockets can protect home court on a Warriors team that has 6 guys you even semi-trust. Steph goes scoreless in the first half, and they lost, despite Harden going 35, 8 and 5, to your point, scoring 12 in the fourth quarter. He didn't fall apart.
And a big game from Chris Paul, who we had.
Great game.
Chris Paul played the best game he's played this whole postseason. And they lost. I said last week, maybe they would be the Bulls to the Warriors Pistons, not going on a Bulls-like run, but takes them a few years, and they finally break through. Maybe they'd be the Jazz to the Warriors Rockets and Sonics, and beat them up in the playoffs year after year, they finally break through. They're the Kings to the Warriors Lakers.
Or the Suns.
Right.
Phoenix, Steve Nash Suns.
Well, this is what I'm concerned about, because I believe that you can win a championship with James Harden. All right, I believe that he is clutch. I believe he has the durability. I believe he's made the adjustments. I believe he's not that big of a liability on the defensive end. I believe the owner's saying the right things. He's been aggressive. He's spending his money. He wants to win a championship. And I believe they have one of the best general managers in Daryl Morey. I respect how he goes about getting other players and everything. But couple liabilities here. Number one being their restriction as far as the number of dollars that they're going to have available over the next several years based on their commitments they've already made. And number two, you got a question. Will that coach ever win? Because he never won nowhere else. They got real close other places. Mike D'Antoni, will this system work? In this era in the NBA, where it's about three-point shooting, it's about freedom of movement, it's about the analytics, if he can't win a championship now, when he ever going to be able to win the championship? It didn't work when he coached with the Lakers. Didn't work when he coached with the Suns. Where has this system? That's what someone's going to have to prove to me. So it probably take another player, a front court player, team with James Harden, and in the Western Conference now where Denver, they average 25.
Right.
25. They're the 4th youngest team in the NBA. Like, there's a lot of things they're going to have to overcome. I don't think they can overcome the system Mike D'Antoni runs.
I'm glad you brought up D'Antoni because the question is, can Harden win a championship? Can D'Antoni win a championship? Look, I'm in the minority, I believe, when I say I think Mike D'Antoni is a Hall of Fame coach.
Wow.
I think I think his impact on the game in Phoenix and the success he had in Phoenix and here in Houston. But I think he's the Don Nelson. Don Nelson never won a championship, was kind of viewed as a gimmick coach, players coach, won a lot of games, never won a championship. But I think D'Antoni has 2 major weaknesses. 1, a lack of attention to detail. And 2, he's non-confrontational. When you are in the playoffs and the difference between the clubs is those 2 things come back to haunt you. Think of his series in Phoenix with San Antonio. Those were close, hard-fought series, but it was always his team that missed the assignment. His team that made the bad turnover. His team that guys got off the bench. San Antonio's player didn't get off the bench. That's attention to detail. And when you're non-confrontational, you also don't say what needs to be said in the heat of the moment or even in practice, and those things come back to haunt you in series.
And I thought in the first half of the game number 6, he was out-coached by Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr played 11 players, had the score tied at 57-57. Most important stat, Steph Curry hadn't scored. Right. So he had totally been out-coached by using those 11 bodies and with no production from Steph. That, I thought, was a huge difference leading into the second half.
Bring Carmelo back.